How's it going, everybody? I'm Michael, and this is the first episode of my YouTube series for expat survival. If you plan to live or go to China, this is the channel for you. In this channel, I'll be discussing the 10 things that you should bring with you when coming to China for the first time. If you want to see everything wrapped up in a summary, please check the description down below. Anyways, let's get started. So at number 10 is a translator. The main language in mainland China is Mandarin, so if you can speak Mandarin, your life will be very convenient. However, if you were like me and you came here without knowing a word of it, don't worry, there's stuff there that can help you out. I downloaded the application Google Translate. What I like about Google Translate is that you can download the dictionaries for both English and Mandarin, and you can use it offline. When using it online, you can also use the picture function, which takes a picture of a menu or anything written in Chinese and will translate it to you directly into English. This is particularly useful when you're in a restaurant and you can't understand what the menu says on the restaurant. There's also a function that you can speak directly when using an online mode, and it will translate it from English directly to Mandarin. I used to use this when talking to taxi drivers to communicate and articulate where I need to go, and it was very helpful. Number 9. I suggest you bring some hygiene products. I know at first you're like, okay, China doesn't have hygiene products, there's no way. Yes, they do. However, if you're used to buying a lot of things in the Western world, or particularly the United States, you may not be able to find it here. An example would be stick deodorant. When I first came to China, I could not find any stick deodorant. So next time I went to the US, I brought me a bundle of stick deodorant. The deodorant they have here is either spray-on or very liquid rub-on, which kind of burned my armpits and it was just very inconvenient. The next hygiene item I recommend is a hygiene mask. If you're going to a city like Beijing that's next to an industrial zone, you can download an app, which I'll put in the description, that will tell you the ppm of that area. If it is not safe during that day to walk outside and breathe the air, I highly recommend you bring a hygiene mask. If you feel weird wearing a hygiene mask, do not worry. A lot of people in those areas always bring a hygiene mask with them, so you'll fit right in. Next thing is some medicine. When I first came here, my body was not used to eating some of the food here. I'm not saying the food wasn't good, it was definitely delicious, but my body wasn't ready to digest all of it at once. So I got sick and I had diarrhea for like a couple weeks. So I wish I would have brought me some Tom-Toms, Pepto-Bismol, Tylenol, and any of those medicines that you typically get in the West that are pretty hard to find here. And the last thing I recommend is some napkins, and maybe some TP as well. The reason I say napkins is because when you go to a local restaurant, typically they charge you 3 to 4 times more to use their napkins. I'm not saying the typical restaurants that tourists go to, I'm talking about the really local places charge you extra for napkins. For TP, if you go to a local rural area, you're most likely not going to find a regular toilet, and most of the bathrooms are going to be on the floor. It's like kind of like a hole on the floor. And they don't come with their own toilet paper, so it's always nice to bring an extra roll of toilet paper with you. So I hope you've been practicing your squats. Next up is number 8, and that is an international power adapter. So I bought a power adapter here, which I can put a link in the description of how you get this, but it pretty much adapts to European, United States, Australia, and the UK. So how I use this power adapter is that in this hole right here, you can stick your USA power adapter that typically has 3 prongs, or many power adapters actually, and then you can select which mode you want it in. So if you want to go to the UK, which by the way, if you go to Hong Kong, which is not part of mainland China, you will need this, you can use a UK socket. If you want to go to USA or Australia, you can use a 2-prong socket. And lastly, if you're going to go somewhere in Europe, like in Germany, you can use one of these sockets. It's really convenient. And you don't want to be stuck with no power when you're overseas. At number 7, you want to make sure you can bring a debit card that can withdraw cash in China. Now there are a lot of banks in China that will accept international cards, but I first recommend that you call your bank and you verify with them if your card can actually withdraw cash using an ATM in China. You don't want to be stuck in a situation where you can't grab any cash. I'll put some of the banks below in the description that accept international cards so you can double check, but just naming a few, you have ICBC, Bank of China, China Construction Bank, and Agricultural Bank of China. All these banks typically accept international debit cards. So make sure you call your bank in advance and figure out. At number 6. So I recommend you call your primary phone provider in your home country and ask for a roaming international plan. I use T-Mobile in the United States and I pay around $50 a month to have this function added. The reason I recommend this is that a lot of applications and websites are blocked in China. So if you come to mainland China thinking you can use Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, pretty much any social media or search engine that's not originated in China, good luck. So if you can confirm beforehand that you can get an international plan through your provider, that is ideal if you want to post your best pictures on Instagram. At number 5, it is always good to bring a picture of your passport, your visa, and the nearest hotline phone number and address of your consulate, your home country consulate. The reason I say this is that it is always encouraged in China to bring your passport wherever you go if you are a foreigner. Typically, the Chinese police will check you to make sure you're here legally because they oftentimes find people that work here illegally from outside countries. Typically, this happens late at night at very populated areas when there's a lot of Western people mingling, and they will stop the party and check everybody's passport. So just be very careful about that. I also recommend bringing this in the event that you lose your passport. Hopefully you don't. It makes it easier to contact your consulate and let them know the situation. And I can make a video about how to get a new passport if you want. Just let me know in the comments below. And also, if you face a situation where you can potentially get arrested, deported, or if you lose some important documentation, it's always good to have a picture or the information easily accessible if you're ever put in that situation. At number 4, this is for all you bike lovers out there. I recommend you download Mobike, or right now it's known as Meituan. I don't know why they changed the name, but all their bikes still say Mobike in it. The reason I say this is because it costs maybe 1 to 2 RMB to find a random bike along the road and go anywhere you want within a city. This is particularly popular in tier 1 cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen. You can find them all over the place, especially next to public transportation like subways. When you download the application, you may have to register using your passport and a picture of your face. But other than that, it's pretty easy to use and very cheap to use as well. Very convenient if you know how to ride a bike. If you want to know how to download this app, I'll provide the link in the description below. At number 3, a VPN, also known as a virtual private network. This allows you to use internet from other locations when you are in China. The reason I said this is like earlier, a lot of websites are blocked in China. So if you want to use your laptop and surf the web, maybe use Google or Facebook, you need a VPN in mainland China. Now, you do get what you pay for here. So if you're going to stay here for a short period of time, I can recommend a free VPN down in the description below. But if you're going to be staying here for a long time, I highly recommend that you use some paid, good quality VPNs such as ExpressVPN or Astral VPN. This will make your life a lot more convenient, and through any mobile device or computer, you'll be able to access the websites you're used to accessing back at home. At number 2, I suggest you download DiDi, which is the taxi app for China, at least in mainland China. Uber used to be in China, and then the company DiDi bought out Uber, so that's what most Chinese people use. What's convenient about DiDi is that you can change the settings to English. When you change the settings to English, the driver will text you in English for the most part. I haven't had an experience yet, so I can't speak when someone calls you. They'll be able to speak English. But when they text you, they will respond to you in English. This is very convenient as a lot of taxi drivers do not speak English, and it is very hard to get to where you're going if you cannot explain to them in their language. Finally, at number 1. If you have a Chinese friend, you can probably guess this one. But I highly recommend you download WeChat. China is becoming more and more of a cashless society. You can find even in very rural places, a lot of the shop owners have a little QR code that you can scan and pay them directly through your phone. So there's a function called WeChat Pay. And if you're a foreigner, it's difficult to set up, but there are ways to do it, and I'll kind of walk through some. But if you want to see in a specific video and exactly how to set it up, let me know in the comments below. So typically what you need to do is to have someone who already has WeChat Pay send you like 1 or 2 RMB via the app after you create an account. When you accept the money, then you will be given the opportunity to put your information to allow WeChat Pay to be activated into your account. Once you set up all the information that I asked for, you should be good to go. Now, if you want to connect your card to WeChat Pay and you don't have a Chinese bank, you have like a 50-50 chance to try to add the card with a Visa or MasterCard, but I can't guarantee it's always going to work. So that sums it up for the 10 things I recommend you should bring to China. If you learned anything or you liked the video, please hit the like and subscribe down below. If you have any video suggestions or ideas, please leave a comment down below. So, pleasure doing business, and I'll see you next time.